Now that we have our IPO chart completed, let's go ahead and open Raptor. And let's fill out our flowchart. Obviously we have numStart and numEnd, which are assignments. So let's put those on. We have numStart equal 5. Oops, numStart equal 1. And our numEnd equal 5. Then we have our loop. And our Boolean expression is going to be what our while statement is in our IPO chart. And that is numStart greater than numEnd. Okay. Then we have our 3 assignments for our calculations. We have the num² equal numStart exponent 2. We have our numRoot equal sqrt numStart and numCube equal numStart cube 3. So let's do our numStart is equal to num², I'm sorry everybody, is equal to numStart exponent 2 our numRoot is sqrt and then your parenthesis numStart and your closing parenthesis. And our final one is numCube is equal to numStart exponent 3. I'll give you a moment to get those in there. Again, you have num² equal numStart exponent 2, numRoot equal sqrt and in parentheses numStart, and the last one is numCube equal numStart exponent 3. We then have our 4 outputs. And mine is going to tell me to save it. And this is going to be square underscore flowchart. Our first output is going to be number, and I'm going to make it so that it shows what the number is. With my colon in parentheses. Actually, we don't need to do that. I'm just going to put out the number. I was thinking of something different. Okay. Then we are going to output the square. I'm going to do square of, and this is where I was thinking of the putting the number in there. So I put square of and added the number in there with the colon. And the next one is going to be the root of the number. And have the num root in there. And the last one is going to be the cube of our number. And the final item that we have inside of our loop is to increment our num start. So it would be num start equal num start plus 1. Okay, and again, I will forward this on to the instructor who will be there for your class, that they can pull up the flowchart just in case you do not have it all, like we had done with the IPO chart. Okay, before we run it, let's go ahead and save it so we don't lose any of our work. And I'm going to run it, and it should automatically run for you. And when it runs, you should see all of your numbers, number 1, and then you have the square of 1, root of 1, cube of 1. Then you have your number 2, square of 2, root of 2, cube of 2. 3, the square root and cube. 4, the square root and cube. And 5, the square root and cube. And if you take a look at your desk check on your IPO chart, those numbers should all match what show up in your master console of your program. So you will notice all of my number ones. My number 1, it has a square, a root, and a cube of all ones. On 2, you should show 2, 4, 1.4142, and an 8. For 3, you should have the square is 9, the root is 1.7302, or 1.7321 rounded off, and the cube is 27. And for 4, you will have 16 for the square, 2 for the root, and 64 for the cube. And 5, you should have 25 for the square, 2.2361 for the root, and the cube is 125. And that is our flowchart. Again, you will have the chance to take a look at this in the classroom to verify that you have everything in there and that it runs properly. And our next video will cover the pseudocode.